me. So first I would like to excuse us because the video will be less interactive and fun than what we could have done in class. So I would like to present you the subject. So it's the IT cases and the shrimp business. So first of all, I'm going to give you a presentation of the figures on Haiti. So it's an island of nearly like 28,000 square meters. It's located in the Caribbean Sea and it has a population of over 11 million people. And it's one of the 20 poorest countries in the world. So the country underfinanced the development of education and health, and we have the economic part that's on the GDP of the island is represented by $500 million in 2014. So that makes $700 per year per inhabitant. So the ITGDP comes from different sources, such as agriculture, like with spices like vanilla and pepper, but as well we have the rice. And there is the fishing, which represents 40% of the GDP.
Tell all the boys no, makes you feel good, yeah. I know you're out of my league, but that won't scare me away. Oh no, you've carried on so long, you couldn't stop if you tried it. You've built your wall so high that no one could climb it. But I'm gonna try. Would you let me see beneath your beautiful?
Okay, now we know how bad the situation was regarding the resource constraints. But what exactly happened to Haiti that they had to go through such a ban that made the most money for them? In 2014, as per usual, Haiti was doing their exports to other countries. But in Rotterdam port, officials stopped them and detained the fishes because they thought the colors were off. After being tested, apparently, the shrimp they bought contained a high level of bacteria. In the same week, French officials also detained the consignments because of the same reason. And guess what? It also contained a high level of bacteria. These incidents caught European Union attention, and they immediately called other European countries to inform them that there are bacteria in the shrimp that is exported by Haiti. And after that, they found that 3 out of 10 exports contain a high level of bacteria, and another one is contain a high level of sulfur dioxide. Right, it was a disinfectant. Oh my god. These incidents kept happening that EU had to ban Haiti from exporting their shrimp. A following week, an inspection team were sent by EU to investigate the whole condition in Haiti. They met the government officials and had a meeting with them. So after that, they go to examine the fishing place as well as the production factory, the hygiene and stuff. They supervise and they write a report about that. After the inspection, the EU wrote a report and it said that Haiti violates a long series of regulation about everything, like the standard, the requirements to export or to conduct a business. Haiti was considered to not achieve that standard yet. So they suggested this temporary ban is not to be lifted until a further remedial action was taken. But I wonder what they meant by temporary ban.
You must be wondering right now what is the temporary ban itself. After the EU inspection team visited the processing plants, fish landing sites and the government officials in Haiti, they issued the draft report on December 10, 2003. The report contains lists of current violations of regulations and substantial problems of the shrimp export operation, from the first step of capturing the fish products to the last step of packaging and shipping to consignments of the European Union market. The EU is heavily concerned of the food safety hazards and quality controls procedures that both Haiti government and local firms conduct all this time. Based on the Council Directive number 91/493/EEC of the European Union, laying down the health conditions and rules for the production and the placing on the market of fishery products for human consumption, the EU inspection team reported that a majority of these Haitian firms are still unable of having adequate processing equipment and methodologies. Only 2 of the 20 private companies inspected were compliant with the EU standards, whilst for the rest 18 private companies inspected with respect to water testing, factory layout, and general hygienic conditions. 3 of them will probably require less than $10,000 investment in modest capital and changes in management, while for the other 15, it will probably require more than $50,000 of larger capital investments and breakthrough changes in operating and management systems. But also other things that deficient inspection procedures and bureaucratic disorganizations are also contributing to the cause of the ban. The Haiti government lacks a competent authority in fish product safety, lacks the power to strengthen policy and practice, and lacks the general procedures standards of the HACCP requirements. All in all, the Ministry of Commerce and Ministry of Fishery just failed to cooperate in the best way possible as expected by the citizens.
In recent years, the Haitian government seeks to promote sustainable development and responsible fisheries and aquaculture, but the sector remains under-supervised, particularly with regards to the existing support structure within the Ministry of Agriculture. Despite the fact that according to available data, more than 60,000 people live directly in these areas, and nearly 2,000 people are involved in the marketing of fish products. Due to overfishing in 2016, the government restricted the fishing activity. However, it lacked sufficient patrol and violations were everywhere. It is also worth noting that because of this restriction, this industry was only operating at 50% of its installed capacity, with some individual companies operating at least the 1/3 of their capacity. So, for the next part, what should they do? Well, here it is, our solutions for 4 sectors that we've classified: finance, public, and then government, and the last one is private. Enjoy!
So, for the financial part, I would like to say that, as we have already stated, financial support and investments are essential to a successful recovery of shrimp production and the shrimp economy. So, to begin with that type of investment, I would like to say that they have to invest in equipments and infrastructure, good infrastructures. That seems essential to me, and also, in fact, to guarantee buyers' quality on products. In addition to fish quality, we need to have quality in harvesting, in processing, and in chilling infrastructure. That could be logical, but we have to say it. So in order to do so, companies must invest in the necessary equipment, and the Haitian government must encourage them to do so. So maybe with a tax incentive or a tax deduction, I don't know, depending on the system that can be put in place. So also the investment in infrastructure is the first things to do and to plan. And then comes the sensitization of the workers and actors on the shrimp industry, subsidiary, and an investment like could be made to raise like awareness on quality, to help people to know what to do, how to do it, to form people on quality, on maintenance, on safety, on quality, like I said, sorry, and it could be also expensive, that sort of formation. So this money can maybe be recovered at the time of sales, because in fact, if we sell quality, a better product, we will sell it maybe a little like higher. So because it's expensive, you can take back your money that you spend on the formation and in the process of people, and after you will be like maybe equal. It will not cost a lot. So and so there is an idea of setting up a set of specifications that foresee how the country and the company should finance and run their business in order to establish the production costs, to know in which machine to invest in, and then will to be able to create some kind of accounts and to create quality audits, that would be carried out by auditors from maybe Haiti or maybe from Europe. Maybe Europe can ask to send some people to control how the things are made in the country. And with that, Europe will see which and what effort are makes, and they could be like completely satisfied with the general production system if they improve that. So this could once again result in a slight increase in quality and thus in the selling price. That's it could be a way to explore us also. So now let's see the other solution with my friend.
This section provides given solutions to combat the issues discussed at the resource constraint section. Besides the preservation and distribution of the resources, this part also discusses developments of several industries in Haiti that support or are related to the fishing industry. On the public matter, this part emphasizes the improvement of human capital by investing in health and education. There's one question that was being imposed currently. How about if they shift their focus to other unexploited resources such as agriculture and development of food crops for domestic consumption use? There is a strong demand for U.S. agribusiness firms to invest in Haiti and help domestic food productions. However, resources in the fishing industry are also currently thinning out. My research also tends to show that Haitian populace that lacks education moves to the shoreline to work in the fishing industry. Although the Minister of Fisheries conducts seasonal restrictions on fishing activities, they lack the manpower to enforce such policy and let the fishermen conduct their activities. But since Haiti has a massive amount of great lands and plantations that are ideal for agriculture, what if we educate the populace and shift the laborers to focus on developing the agricultural sector? Well, it is possible to do in the long run, but since a large amount of capital is needed, it is impossible to do in the short run, and gaining profits from the fishing industry could be allocated to be used as capital for the agriculture industry. Since the fishermen lack capital to develop their firms and are feasible enough to be productive, a collaboration with the Japanese vessel industry can come to mind. Based on the United States Department of Interior Fish and Wildlife Services Bureau of Commercial Fisheries, Japanese fisheries based in overseas areas, visually leaflet 485, there are many Japanese shipping industries operating in Haiti. Therefore, perhaps the Haitian fishermen could be trained to excel in the field by the Japanese industries from a government-made request or program that is part of the deal of access to Haitian waters. The cost to collaborate is also cheaper, with the locals could get access to ships and modern technologies and thus be integrated to them, while on the other hand, the Japanese shipping companies will get human capital to endure their activities. Regarding incentives, I believe their split profit will benefit both parties, just still taking the weighing more on the Haitian since it is their land to start. The theory that could support this argument is the specific factor model that reemphasizes that high-skilled labor is not going to be productive when working with less-skilled labor. That is why training activities and programs will be conducted so that there is a loss of skill gap between laborers and a competitive equilibrium is reached. The training led to higher return of investment in the long run on educational terms. While laborers will also be trained and educated in several other fields, such as logistic distributions, that also supports the fishing industries. Therefore, an equal distribution of products for consumers within Haiti will be reached. Thank you.
As stated by Aryo, we suggest that the Haiti government do some cooperation with the Japanese firm in this fishing sector. But it's kind of impolite that we ask for something but offer nothing in return. So we suggest that while the Haiti government asking for some cooperation or to increase their labor quality, they also offer the infamous lion shrimp cheaply as it is apparently on high demand. But there will be a risk of brain drain while doing this. So what should the government do? They should strictly make a policy that it's an obligation for them to return to their own country once they earn the skill they need. They have to transfer the knowledge for the sake of development of their own country. What else should the government do? After they make some policies, they have to be strict with them. They also have to increase their quality, also the hygiene, as well as other evaluation from the EU inspection team, so that they could leave the ban and they could operate normally again. Actually, there's another suggestion for the Haiti while being banned by the EU, that is by reaching the emerging market or the Asian market. What I'm trying to say is because they're banned in Europe, try to engage the Asian market by exporting to them. But apparently, under the ban, exporting is very costly, and we think that it is not wise to do so. So if the ban has been lifted later, they could actually do that. So the market is not only in the Europe, but it's also in the Asian.
The solution that we can offer for the private sector includes that the government's investment on education and health will boost the human capital in the long run with respect to higher income level for a household as they may get better jobs. Haiti government must also increase the aggregate demand of Haitians for domestic fish products, especially Haiti shrimps. This is an important start for sustainability of the optimal demand in the equilibrium point whereby MR equals MC, so that prices of fish product can be stabilized for economic growth purposes. The main occupations of households in Haiti are still that of within the agriculture sector, with more than 60,000 people living in the fishery industrial areas, and nearly 20,000 people are directly involved in fish products market, according to Food and Agriculture of United Nations in 2017. However, Haiti was one of the lowest consumption of fish products, with approximately 5.8 kilograms per capita per year in 2015, and the national production only contributes around one-third of consumption, as the rest being imported. At this situation, in the given time, protectionism is needed. To substitute the import of fish products with locally produced fish products, our group do believe that Haiti government must stimulate the aggregate demand for local fish products by spreading better awareness of just how healthy fish products with all the nutrition for the daily consumption can be through public medias, television ads, and public figures' communication. The government can also increase the complexity of production for food product, especially shrimp, in forms of rebranded shrimp cans with different flavors, or maybe shrimp sambals, as in Indonesia, for example, along with the good marketing approaches so that a whole new market segmentation of consumers can be achieved. Yet, most importantly, Haitians are still living in poor conditions with lower consumption level. So, the government must design the appropriate price floors and price ceilings policy for shrimp products to be more demanded by households. And to do that, the supply chains and firms' production must be efficient with higher productivity as a result of the initial investments in human resource and capital. Like it or not, they have to improve the quality control and food safety procedures to reclaim the acceptance of exporting Haiti fish products to the EU market. This will be done through an initial investment in capital and human resources. This means that the government must gather funds both from foreign and domestic agents to invest in the fishery industry and the public sector of Haiti. Nevertheless, our group suggests that Haiti must first establish more efficient domestic fish products production. Reducing import of fish products by producing more local products for the sake of future sustainability of production can be beneficial. Yet, under the terms of the Ricardian model, production costs must also be cheaper than importing costs to be economically efficient in the long run, because at the moment Haiti needs initial investment in the short run. To gather funds based on the demand side of the ISLM curve, and according to Keynes, Haiti government can increase the investment funds by imposing expansionary monetary policy, which lowers down the interest rate, that increases money supply and aggregate demand, hence boosting the economic growth. And in the small country scenario of international trade, the Haiti government can subsidize the fish products producers in the short run to impose lower prices in the domestic market. This will be huge for the economy because as consumption rises, supply will increase to meet up the demand, hence rising output level and increasing employment.